it is time to send our next segment to the council chambers. Go ahead and send it over to Master or Apprentice.
Welcome to Master or Apprentice. In this segment, we will be going over your hot takes and deciding if we agree or disagree with them. If you have any hot takes that you would like to see on the show, please leave it in our Discord, link in the description, or in the comment section below. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the first hot take today. This one is coming in from Klogot. He says, "The Clone Wars is the best piece of Star Wars media." And he did clarify this was including, movies, anything, any visual media. And off rip, I'm a little, I don't want to say iffy, because the thing is, I don't think it's like best in terms of just overall quality. But I'm going to look at it from a different angle. To me, I mean, it gets weird including like pitting shows and movies up against each other because they're just so different.
Yeah.
But Andor to me is easily the best show. And then movie is, like Revenge of the Sith, Empire, Return of the Jedi. Like those three are kind of king in terms of best, in my opinion. But Clone Wars is special in a different way, to where it's like it has that crazy high highs. But it also, out of anything Star Wars, has the like largest it does the most world building for sure. It's a 7-season show. It makes Star Wars feel huge, and everything in between is a unique story and entertaining throughout. Like, it's just like the fact that they did the D Squad arc and I was still super engaged is crazy. Like, because it's just so out there. Like, it is so weird, but amazing. And I guess what I want to say for the hot take is I agree with it if you look at it from a certain way. If you look at it from
a certain point of view.
Yes, from a certain point of view, I would say it is the best. Best in terms of quality, just overall, I would say no. But I'm going to agree with the hot take going at the angle that I'm going at. Because it's definitely been by far the most influential out of any Star Wars show or movie. So what are you thinking?
Yeah, no, of course. It definitely did a lot. Obviously, specifically for the prequels. It made people who didn't necessarily enjoy the prequels like as much as I did, for example, the Clone Wars really brought them into that era, and they kind of found a new joy for the Clone Wars era, I guess you can call it, prequel, whatever you want to call it.
Mm-hmm.
So it definitely did a lot for that. And I kind of looking at the like from the angle that you're looking at, I might have to agree too, even though I think obviously, we both think that Andor's the best show. Obviously the quality on that's top tier. The movies, the quality is always gonna be better. Obviously Revenge of the Sith is my personal favorite, like not just movie, but like piece in Star Wars altogether.
Mm-hmm.
But for an overall consensus, the Clone Wars did so much for the prequels. I think it'd be hard not to say that it's probably the best piece of Star Wars media, just based off of how many stories you get, how many different arcs, all the new characters, overall just characters being like expanded upon. Uh, So I think I'm gonna have to agree with it as well.
Yeah, I think it's just, even though, like something like Rebels still has a lot. Like, it's 4 seasons. There's still a lot. It's more than anything else other than the Clone Wars. But the Clone Wars being like having like its own stories within it, but also being so much about the Skywalker saga as well, including so many of those characters and being so important to that, makes me say it's the most influential and most important to me, other than the main movies, I guess.
Yeah, of
Uh,
course. I mean, I can't really disagree with it. So
but I think that means something here, Mark.
I think it does. Klogot,
Klogot,
you have been granted the rank of master. Round of
round of
applause for
applause for
Klogot.
Klogot. I mean, that is unreal. I think it's been a while since anyone other than us have been granted the rank of master. And were we a little lenient in what what the hot take was? Maybe, but
Yeah, but
we agree with it. So
yeah, it was very influential. So we'll go ahead and get in here to our second hot take, submitted by Beaster453. The Obi-Wan show did more for Anakin and Obi-Wan's relationship than the prequels ever did. Now this is an interesting one. So since we're talking about the prequels, are we gonna include the Clone Wars since it's
I I think from the hot take, it's including it's just the prequels to me. So it's just the movies. That's
just
the
one,
way
two, and
I'm
three? Okay,
considering it.
then that's the way I will consider it as well. So this one obviously is very interesting. It's tough because they both do such a good, like, specifically obviously Attack of Clones I thought was, they had a nice little banter back and forth, all that, like in the
Mhm.
elevator in the opening of the movie. Um, but there's in episode 3, man, it just took it to a whole nother level beyond friendship at that point.
Yeah.
But the Kenobi show kind of did that too. I mean, it because Obi-Wan had, I mean, he's had multiple opportunities to just, end it, get rid of Vader, not to have the problem in the future, and he couldn't will himself to do it. But either
Yeah.
time, it was tough for him to see Anakin like that, his best friend, considered him a brother. I mean, and you kind of, it's kind of, you can kind of see the similarities in the show, in Kenobi, and in Revenge of the Sith. I feel like both moments truly are a very emotional moments, but I feel like Obi-Wan's reaction in Kenobi, it's like more so like, what have I created?
Yeah.
I feel like because he kind of forced Vader in the suit and whatnot. But this is a tough one because I don't know which side I want to, if I want to agree or disagree with it. I feel like I'm kind of stuck in the middle right here. I kind of want to see what you have to say to maybe let me
The,
pick a side here.
this one is tough because, I mean, to me, the Clone Wars is by far like the most important thing to their relationship. It just builds on it so much, and I've heard other people say this about the prequels, but their relationship in the prequels, more specifically in Attack of the Clones, because it kind of changes a little bit in Revenge of the Sith, but I think it's just because of the age difference, or like just the age of Anakin in Attack of the Clones. But it seems more of a father son type relationship at the start,
Yeah, for sure.
mainly because it's more about master and apprentice type deal. And
Hmm.
that's kind of what makes it seem like a father son sort of thing.
And didn't Anakin? I believe he said in Attack of the Clones that he's like, Obi-Wan was like the closest thing he had to a father, right?
Yes.
So
So So then you get to Revenge of the Sith, and it's Anakin has grown more, he's matured, so he's more of a peer rather than someone that is lower than Obi-Wan. So then
Yeah.
that's what makes it seem like they're on the same level. They're more of brothers. But the Clone Wars is what really sells the brothers bond there.
Yeah.
And I don't know, man. I think I think the prequels build the relationship more,
Yeah, for
whereas the
sure.
show doesn't build it. It expands upon it a little bit. It adds another layer of, Obi-Wan finding out that Anakin's still alive
Yeah.
and going through all this stuff. You see the flashback scene, which does add some stuff to it, which is cool. Another teaching moment, but I would personally say the prequels do more for the relationship, but it's close, to be honest.
Yeah, it's a lot closer than some people might think,
Yeah,
for
the
sure.
Clone Wars is this is how much the the prequels and the Obi-Wan show do for their relationship. This is Clone Wars. Like
Yeah, for sure.
that's kind of the deal there. So I think these two are close. Clone Wars is the thing that takes it overall. But for this hot take, I would disagree with it slightly, like the like the tiniest amount.
Yeah, I might have to. Even though I don't want, it's a really good one. I might have to disagree with it slightly as well, but it's like, I mean, dude, it's right there, like neck and neck.
Yeah.
Beaster, very sorry to do this, but we do not grant you the rank of master. It
Round of
it was really
applause. Round of
close though.
applause for the hot
Round of
take.
applause. It was really close, and one of the better ones that we've had. I feel like I
Yeah.
never thought about this, to be honest.
And I think it's one where it really could be 50-50, in my
Oh,
opinion. I think a lot of people do favor the prequels in that sort of aspect.
hmm,
But when you really think about it, the prequels didn't do a crazy amount for their relationship specifically.
yeah,
But to go ahead and move on to our third and final hot take, this one is anonymous. So, sorry I don't have a name to say, but like I said, anonymous, they say animated Star Wars will always be better than live action. Man, we're doing a lot of talking about the Clone Wars in this one, but hey,
it's
it's,
it's good
it's
Star Wars.
understandable.
Yeah,
Uh, so this one is also, I feel like I have some kind of strong feelings toward animated Star Wars. The Bad Batch is one of my favorite shows,
yeah,
easily. The Clone Wars is like my favorite era in Star Wars, so I very much have a favoritism toward the Clone Wars. And then Rebels is amazing. Tales of the Jedi was great. But I mean, live action is kind of just a different beast. They're both good for different things. Like
yeah.
live action is definitely seen as like such a such a bigger moment. Like when something is in live action, it's because it's that much more important.
It just
Like
has that like big feel type of thing,
yeah,
like
and I mean this I would assume is also including like the movies because they're live action.
yeah,
So they're just a much more staggering moment in Star Wars. But animated Star Wars allows for, multiple seasons, done a lot easier than a live action show.
yeah,
They could do a lot more with it. They could be a lot more creative with it. In Clone Wars, they do so much with the Force. Like you see Mortis, all these different things. The original ending with Yoda, going to Dagobah, that type of stuff. Like that stuff is a lot harder in live action. So I feel like you can be on a different level of creativity when it comes to animated, and the stories are like neck and neck to me. Like they're you can tell an amazing story in animation, which
Yeah.
that's why I feel like animation definitely is underrated. Is it better than live action? I don't know. I this isn't a do all of these have me on the fence.
Yeah, yeah.
Every
I
single one of these have.
I feel
I'm
that
What were you
it's
gonna say?
it is it's tough to pick because like you said they both provide phenomenal stories, phenomenal moments. But I feel like so I think I might lean live action, and here's why. Whilst animated, they're like the animation, does provide some good visuals and everything. I feel like live action is just like next level with that type of stuff. Like
Yeah.
in Rogue One, that the ending with the Vader scene, like that was so cool. My favorite duel of all time, Anakin versus Obi-Wan on Mustafar, and just the visuals on that. Um, Episode 6 with the Death Star blowing up, and then the ending scene with uh Anakin and Luke. That was great. There's so many like great visuals in live action and also animation as well. But to me, I feel like I lean a little more towards the live action ones.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just kind of my opinion on it. Because it just gives like a bigger feel to it. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean I get exactly what you're saying. It's like how I was explaining like the live action things feel like they feel more important, which it maybe isn't a
Yeah.
great way to look at it because I think the animated shows are just as important. Like
Oh, of
they
course.
are just as good and just as meaningful to the Star Wars story. Like Ahsoka just came out. Rebels is integral to that story.
Yeah.
So, I, like guys, it's so close. You're okay. You're leaning live action, so you're disagreeing with this
Yeah.
because I think we're both also pretty on the fence. I'm gonna say I agree with it, even if I don't fully agree with it. Just to show that we are 50-50 on this. Like this is
Oh, yeah. No, this is
this is a like we just can't decide type deal.
yeah, and it also comes down to personal preference. I feel like too,
Yeah.
because like that's why you want to go 50-50. It's just like I've always like preferred the live action stuff. That's why it took me so long to get into Clone Wars because I just didn't want to get into it. Then I got into it, realized it was good, but even now I just slightly prefer live action shows more. And this is, I mean, I'm a huge Rebels fan. Rebels is some of my favorite Star Wars
Hmm.
content, and I still kind of lean towards the live action stuff. So
Yeah, and I was always a fan of the Clone Wars since I was a kid when they were showing it on Cartoon Network. Like that I always had a certain connection to the Clone Wars. So then like the Bad Batch being an extension of that just hooked me instantly. So I'm actually not mad with me agreeing with it because I'm definitely more of a fan of animation than you, I would say.
yeah, for sure.
Not that you dislike it, but
Oh yeah, no, of
get what I'm
course.
saying.
Yeah, I
But
mean,
that just shows we are pretty 50-50. So, to the person that did submit this hot take, I do apologize, but we do not grant you the rank of master. Round of applause. Massive round of applause, actually, because I think this is one that provides such a great discussion about it because there's a lot of fans of both, and there's a
oh,
lot of diehard fans of both as well.
so the first one that's had a 50-50 split.
Yeah, this is like the most genuine 50-50 split out of any hot take that we've had on here for sure.
Yeah, so this is a historic moment here.
But that'll do it for Master or Apprentice this time around. We actually did have multiple people be granted the rank of Master. So
It's pretty crazy.
it is kind of wild. If you have any hot takes you would like to submit, you can leave them in our Discord, link in the description, or in the comment section below. Increased odds if you are a channel member, so please make sure to become a channel member today. And with that, we'll go ahead and send you back to the boys